Hi guys, welcome to today's lesson. So today we're going to be focusing on expanding terms, right? This is under algebraic expressions. But before we do that, I just want you to think about something. This will be the leading question. It will be like the big idea of this particular lesson that we are having today. So let's look at what exactly that is. Now, have you ever thought about why is the term a to the exponent of 2 called a squared, right? I'm calling it a to the exponent of 2 because under exponents, that's what we call it. But normally people then say this is a squared. Why is that the case? Just think about that and you will see at a later stage that I will show you why that is the case. Now, the main operation that we're going to be dealing with is multiplication. And we're going to have what you call factors under multiplication and the two properties of multiplication, which is your associative and your distributive. And then we'll look at the 3 types of expanding terms that have to do with a monomial, a binomial, and a trinomial. Now, as simple as this question is, what is multiplication? I promise you, if you do not understand what exactly is multiplication, then everything that you're going to do when you are expanding will not make sense. So multiplication will be a short way of adding the same number to itself a certain number of times. So for example, if I say to you 3 multiplied by 4, what that means is I am adding 4 to itself 3 times. Or I am adding 3 to itself 4 times. If you want to take it in that direction, it will still give you the same answer. So 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 3 will be 12. Similarly with, 4 plus 4 is 8, plus another 4 will give me 12, right? Also, if we use it under algebra and I say 4a, I know that most of us look at 4 as just a number and a as just a letter. But what really this means is it's a plus another a plus another a plus another a. So it means we are adding a to itself 4 times. That's what 4a means, right? Now also, 2 numbers multiplied together, we call them factors because we really do need to get our language clear in what we are talking about. And then the answer that we get when we are multiplying is called the product. We have 2 properties as I showed you with our map. That the first property is the associative property. This means that it does not really matter the order of the numbers that you are multiplying. Right? If it's 3 times 4, it's the same as 4 times 3. It doesn't really matter your order of multiplying as long as there's a multiplication between those terms. Not division, not subtraction, no, just multiplication. Now, let me just show you. 4 multiplied by 3 we know is 12. 3 multiplied by 4 is also 12. So that's what I really mean. Similarly with a multiplied by b, remember we write it as ab, which is equals to b multiplied by a is ba. But you know that mathematically, if I'm writing a term that has variables, we normally follow alphabetical order, right? Hence, this is supposed to be ab, which is the same as the first side, or rather the left-hand side of this. Now, with the distributive property, this has to do with if I am taking a number outside the bracket and I am multiplying it throughout all the terms that are inside the bracket. Hence, it's going to be the 4 multiplied by the 2 and then the 4 multiplied by the 1. But before we do that, let's look at how you would do this if maybe you were to use BODMAS, right? Because remember, everything that has to do with numbers is governed by BODMAS. I would say this is 4, and then BODMAS says you must work out what is inside the bracket. 2 plus 1, you know, is 3. Therefore, 4 multiplied by 3 will then give me 12. But if I want to use, I want to get the same answer, but now using the distributive property, it means I will say the 4 multiplied by 2, which will give me the first part there, and then 4 multiplied by 1, which will give me the second part there. 4 multiplied by 2, you know, is 8, plus 4 multiplied by 1 is 4, which will then give me 12. So at the end of the day, this is the same as the associative property that we spoke about, where you are just multiplying the terms. Now, we also have what we call a monomial, right? A monomial will be an algebraic expression of one term. Mono means one. Then binomial will then be an algebraic expression. Now, this is important. It's either a sum or a difference of two terms, not when you are multiplying or dividing terms. That has nothing to do with it being a binomial. So a binomial will be like a plus b or a minus b. So the two operations that govern a binomial will be plus and minus, not multiply, not division. Now, the properties of multiplication, remember the distributive property, especially when you talk about algebra, says that when I have a term outside the bracket, I need to multiply it, I need to distribute it using multiplication to the terms inside the bracket. Hence, it's going to be the a multiplied by the b, which gives me ab. It's the a multiplied by the c, which gives me ac. Everything else stays the same. So the sign in the middle here, which is the plus, does not then change and become something else. Now the variable a will then be what we say we are distributing using multiplication to each and every term inside the bracket. Now let's look at a typical example of what exactly this means. If I have a monomial, remember 3x I said is a monomial, and then x plus 3 is a binomial. If I'm multiplying the two terms, then I will multiply the 3x with the x first, and then the 3x with the 3 there. So this will give me 3x squared plus 3x multiplied by the 3 will then give me 9x. And then there is really nothing that I can do. Remember when you started doing maths long time ago, we spoke about like terms and unlike terms. These are unlike terms, so I will just leave them the way they are. Now also, if now we are talking about a binomial multiplied by another binomial now, what this is, firstly, you will take the first term in the first binomial and distribute it to all the terms in the second binomial. Take the second term, distribute it into the bracket of the other binomial. So that becomes a open bracket c plus d plus b open bracket c plus d. Now let me show you, if the sign between the two terms of the first binomial was minus, you would still maintain that, right? So if I had a minus b into c plus d, I would still maintain this minus. So this will be a into c plus d, then minus the b open bracket c plus d, right? So I don't change the sign. You maintain the originality of that sign. And if you do multiply this using what we've spoken about, it will be AC, this will be AD, that will be BC, and that will be BD. Then from there you can see that you really cannot do anything there because those are not like terms, right? They are unlike terms. But so far, guys, what we've looked at is multiplication is quite a very big thing to look at. As simple as the question, what is multiplication? You might think it's a very simple question. No, I know what multiplication is. To be honest with you, it involves a lot of things. As we saw, it's the associative property and the distributive property, and then the types of terms that we have, a monomial, binomial. Later we'll look at what we call a trinomial and then try to see what it is all about. But for now, because we've really been doing a lot, I want you to take a quick break and we'll be back with some more.